Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast. It is not Earnest DJ Christian, it is myself. I am Mike Vernier. I am joined by my co-host, Joe Lopez.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, just hanging out. And filling in for Earnest, who's on assignment. No, not really like somewhere reviewing anything. He's helping his son with his homework assignment. Is co-founder of Fat Kid Certified, one of my best friends, Craig Horn.
What's up, Mikey? Joe, how we doing?
I thought Earnest was out covering a Nitro party.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Is he not calling in on 1-800-COLLECT for us? Is that...
No. He used the last couple of cents to call the Mean Gene line to see if there was any rumors or spoilers for.
Wow. I remember I used to call those back in the day.
I don't remember ever calling it.
Well, when I grew up, we didn't have the internet.
I'm 37. I didn't have the internet either until I was like 15 or 16.
So we either read wrestling magazines.
Yeah.
At newspaper stands or, bodegas and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or you called those numbers to find out information about what was going on in wrestling. So it's funny that you mention it. But yeah, I used to call those.
That's crazy.
And I get in trouble for those kind of phone calls.
Gotta pay $2 a minute for those things.
Also called the other 976 numbers back in the day. Got my ass whooped for those too.
Oh my gosh. I think that's all very fair though. Half naked men, half naked women. I mean, it works perfect.
Bingo!
Everybody's happy.
Two sides to the same coin.
Sure.
All right, so keeping up with some fun things we've done on the show in the past, we are going to do a watch along. I thought about it with the Taker retirement. We probably really should have watched his debut last week to really make it full circle. So we're going to do it this week. Fun little match. Survivor Series 1990. He is part of Team $1 Million Man. We're going to watch that. Joe has a very interesting topic that we're going to get into that we were supposed to get into last week about house shows, and then a very special one from Craig to wrap up today's show. So without any further ado, if you want to get on the WWE Network, Survivor Series 1990, timestamp of 25 minutes, 11 seconds, and a very coked out looking Ted DiBiase staring at you. Trying to figure out if he's looking into my soul or...
He's just looking for another $100 bill to roll up and blast it before he's got to go out there and do his famous laugh and bring out a ham hock.
Hey, what's the timestamp? I gotta get there.
25 minutes and 11 seconds.
Like, his hair is perfect.
That's a tight
that is fucking
I'll tell you when I'm there.
That is the beautiful 80s mullet transitioning to a more upscale 90s look. It's not so much the Billy Ray, but it's fucking fabulous. I mean, it's down to his traps.
Wait. 25 minutes and 11 seconds?
Yes.
Like with this man's crazy eyes staring at me right now?
He's done so much cocaine.
Listen, he looks like when they take the mask off the person they kidnapped, and that's the dude who made the plan, and he's all coked out. That's the thing that the person sees when they take the mask off, and then you shit yourself because this guy is fucking crazy. Like, look at him. Like, no wrestler should look like that.
No living being should look like that. I agree with you.
I mean, God, how much cocaine were they doing backstage?
If his pupils were any more dilated, he'd be giving birth.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ. And
good Lord.
Yeah.
All right, so Joe, you're there?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
I mean, and it's funny, like the whole reason why it took me a minute.
Oh my God! Look at the gym teacher,
Greg Valentine. The whole reason it took me a minute just now to get here is because I was tempted to start watching the first match, which talking about cocaine, You have an entire team that, because of the 1980s are no longer with us today.
Oh, it's the American dream.
God, he was never skinny. So is this like all like Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing that we're gonna do right now? Look at Cocaine Beware. Look at where's this
my God.
He's the one watching the cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Cocaine.
Right, greatest belts ever.
Yes.
Greatest belts ever.
Yeah. Speaking of cocaine, here comes Jim Neidhart.
Ouch.
That's a hat right there.
Yeah. Look at those tits. Wow.
Oh my
God.
Oh, God.
Poor Dustin.
Hold on. Why is Dusty not wearing pink and black? They could have been fucking color coordinated.
So wait, Craig, on a scale of 1 to Pam Anderson, how happy would you be to motorboat Dusty Rhodes?
Well, just seeing that he's a living legend, and he is.
You gotta give it a little.
Dusty Rhodes. I mean, it'd be an honor and a privilege to motorboat his titties.
Gotta give it a little.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Jimmy with the rhythm and blues.
Jimmy Hart back in 1990 was 68 years old. He is.
How bad does Greg Valentine look with dark hair?
Oh, how bad does it look? Period.
Yeah.
Oh, God. He looks like that lesbian gym teacher we all had.
He really does.
Hold the guitar properly.
Oh my God! Look at how fast the intro is for this.
They literally sprinted to the ring.
Yeah, well, they only walk 12 feet. But like, if this is like a regular pay-per-view nowadays, like the first guy is just getting to the ring.
Oh look, it's Soul Train Jones and the $1 million title belt. This Ted DiBiase suit not as good as the green one from last week.
No, correct.
The green suit is always the superior suit.
You know what's missing in wrestling right now, though? Tearaway suits. Like, nobody comes out wearing just a whole ass suit anymore.
Are we supposed to be listening to him?
No. We just watch along. We give our own commentary to these.
Oh,
it's so much funner. So here comes the introduction. Honestly, the thing that I like most about this is Piper's comment. As soon as he makes his way like around the corner, and Piper sees what he looks like.
So you never listened to his intro?
No.
All right.
So here comes Brother Love. Presents the Undertaker. Wow. And at this point, this is probably where Piper's like, look at the size of that ham hock.
Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what shade of red his face is and his shirt is. Like, the shirt is like a red rose.
His shirt is Kool-Aid Man.
But his is like 8 seconds away from dying of strangulation.
Yeah, it's got that bluish hint to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to have my hand slapped away, but they're the ones who ask for the choking.
What, you couldn't say the safe word?
No.
Oh.
Look, the one thing about the Undertaker back then, he has this amazing tattoo of a skull with axes. And it's blended in now because of, he's sleeved up. But nice stash. Look at that.
So wait. Was the safe word tomato face Sting? I just need to know.
It was flour, but it was WER. She was saying flour. OUR. So I didn't stop. She said the wrong word.
Damn. Gosh darn it anyway.
It's like tomato face thing was a secondary choice.
It's like when you do deer and deer. If the safe word is, deer as in the animal, and she's like deer, and
right.
It's like, oh, sweetheart, I'm not going to stop. You have to say the right word.
I understand completely.
But anyway, yeah, he's got a badass tattoo. I believe it's his right forearm.
I believe he's taking it right to Bret Hart here. Just fucking, here's a kick to the face. And here's a fucking modern day chokeslam.
They did a good job of making him look dead.
Yes, the makeup here was really good. It made him really look like he was like came out of the grave.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed.
All right, so if I'm not mistaken, Coco's the first one eliminated, right?
I don't remember. You know what's great though? Like he still looks dead now, and he doesn't need the makeup.
Oof.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's like 80.
Here comes Coco on
There
his
goes-
Coco.
Oh,
There
wow.
goes Coco.
How'd the top rope taste?
That's gotta hurt.
Jesus. He picked him up like he's nothing.
And suck my balls. And you're dead.
Oh.
That's a little close to the ropes, buddy.
Yeah, whatever.
Just
3.
fucking- He doesn't even move.
Roll his ass out of the ring.
See you bye.
Look at how gingerly he walks around the ring. With that fucking hair. Imagine if he kept his hair that color his whole career. Instead of going to black and...
Shorts and becoming the American Badass.
Yeah.
But I tell you, one of the reasons why he lasted for 30 years is because he was able to evolve his look so many times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I mean, how many wrestlers actually get away with that? Like he didn't even change. He never changed gimmick. He changed gimmicks once, but he still kept the name and everything. You know what I mean? Like he never really changed that much other than his look. A lot of wrestlers don't get away with that.
Why did they let him wrestle without a shirt on?
Are you talking about Greg Valentine or Dusty Rhodes?
Both.
Dusty.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not looking at anything pretty here.
No, there's just like, ugh.
A whole lot of man meat getting fucking chopped in the corner there.
And what's funny is like Greg Valentine still does appearances to this day.
See, men like this are the reason why I thought I was straight for so long. Like, honestly, like, looking at this, there's nothing attractive about any of this. This is when women make more sense.
All right, I'll put it in the other one tonight. No big deal. I'll just...
Ooh! That was a knee right to the fucking face. God damn.
What was worse, that knee to the face or Alan Lazard getting murdered by the fucking bear signs?
Oh my god.
All right, here comes.
But low key is Greg Valentine's one of those wrestlers like Arn Anderson who like is ridiculously good but doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No.
Factual.
Well, think about it. I mean, he was there when Hogan was there and Piper was there. Like,
and and let's be real, he's kind of boring.
yeah,
Like he's as like vanilla, like plain bread as you can be. But he's a great wrestler.
Yes, he was really good. And it was a good.
Who is he compared to like in modern times? Like who's the modern Greg Valentine?
Great wrestler, but never really gets there.
Or like, yeah, great wrestler, kind of boring. I feel like it's someone in AEW for the record. Like
maybe
it's
like
not in
Cesaro.
WWE, but ooh,
I was gonna say Dolph.
No, because Dolph is good on the mic. Valentine never really spoke. Cesaro doesn't really give the greatest of promos.
it's tough, you know, coming from being such a Cesaro fan when he was Claudio on the indie scene. It's tough to admit that, like, you know, he really does, like, his role in WWE has never been quite there.
Best.
Yeah.
You know, and hey, you know what? Look, if you're making great money, just whatever. You're on fucking TV. You're working one day a week now. You know, it's no big deal.
Yeah, for real.
Damn, I was going to say something.
And then that drop kick just like distracted the shit out of
You
you.
were trying to figure out how Dusty got that high.
Well, that too.
I mean, they were all that high.
You know, but the one thing with Valentine, the best thing that ever happened to him was him and Beefcake.
Well, didn't he have like an I Quit match at a Starrcade or something like that?
Valentine?
Yeah. Like a dog collar match?
I think he had a dog collar match. I don't know if he had a quit match.
It's something I've never seen. I know that much, but I feel like it's like people have talked about it.
Oh, you know who else had a career like that didn't get all that, like he was a good in-ring wrestler, was a Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was big in Mid-South and stuff like that. I know that. He's definitely one, but yeah, the 80s was such a weird time because, in WWF, if you were there and you weren't Hulk Hogan,
Exactly.
it didn't matter.
You know, it was
Am
like
I
Pedro
crazy?
Morales or Don Morocco
Am I
had
crazy
the title back then.
Right. Am I crazy or did Bret Hart always look exactly the same age during his wrestling career?
I mean, 90% of it.
Right?
Well, because he probably, towards the end, was bleaching. Oh, my God. Look how big he is. Wow.
Jeez.
Why does he look shorter than back then? Who? The Undertaker. Or was everybody else 6'4",
He
6'5"?
does.
I think everybody else was 6'4", 6'5". Yeah,
That
because he's
seems
not
factual.
towering over these guys.
No.
I mean,
If anything, Bret Hart's about the closest to towering that he's coming, and Bret Hart's probably one of the shorter guys.
Too.
Yeah.
Is Honky eliminated? Yes, he got eliminated.
He must
That's
be.
Right. He got pinned by I think it was Dusty. Neidhart eliminated too. Did I miss that one?
I don't know how the hell I missed both of them. I was probably watching something on Peter and got distracted.
Oh no, Dusty's getting taken out by the Undertaker.
Oh, don't make me pull out the thunderous elbow.
Not the bionicle elbows.
Where I make believe I airbox with my hands and make like a twirly look. like I'm playing with dough or something. And oh my goodness gracious. Look at the size of this man flying from the heavens. Here's a pin. Oh, wow, what a view.
So wait, on the overall scale of pro wrestler debuts, where do we rank the Undertaker's debut?
I mean, I have to say it's fairly high.
Well, this is his WWE debut.
How? Well, yeah, I'm talking about WWE debut. You have him, you have The Rock's first match, you have when Jericho debuted. Where do you put the Undertaker's debut?
Top
I
would
10?
probably put it closer to the top 5. I mean, you have to think 30-year career, same gimmick that he pretty much debuted, with the exception of a 1 or 2 year run. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, Rocky changed from Rocky Maivia to The Rock within a year. Austin, did he debut as Stone Cold, or no? He was a ringmaster. Yeah,
no,
he was he went through a whole gimmick transition.
Yeah.
I mean, Triple H, don't know.
This is the perfect way to get rid of him from the match, too.
Triple H is totally different.
Yeah, he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
No, Michaels.
This was literally the perfect way to keep Undertaker looking strong without getting a pin or whatever.
For the record, Greg Valentine had a series of brutal dog collar matches with Roddy Piper, and one of them was Starrcade 1983.
What titles did he hold?
Who, Valentine?
Yeah.
Tag. Back to the page real quick.
He was voted best dressed wrestler in 1985.
Was that a one-person vote and he voted for himself? All right.
Yes.
So over his career, he held the NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship twice, the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Titles once with Ric Flair, the Mid-Atlantic TV Championship twice, the NWA TV title twice, the NWA United States title 3 times, the NWA Tag Titles 4 times, twice with Ric Flair, once with Ray Stevens, and one with Baron Von Raschke, and was a one-time WCW United States Tag Champion with the tailor-made man, Terry Taylor.
Ugh.
We hate Terry Taylor, so
Okay.
Because we have taste.
he was the.
You know what I'm realizing right now? Watching Ted DiBiase, like he just did that spot where he went over the top rope. Heels in wrestling don't have like spots like that anymore. Like you remember like Ric Flair always had the spot where he went to the top rope and the guy would always end up, catching him and, throwing him off the top. Or like there are a lot of like heels in the 80s who had those spots where it was like Shawn Michaels had those even when he was a heel where like, you'd send him into the corner and he'd always like end up flipping over and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of that. Mr. Perfect had that and stuff, and you don't really see that in wrestling anymore. It's kind of random how that's gone.
You mean like that?
Oh, yes.
Chest first, game over.
Like that isn't that weird? It's like nowadays all the spots that guys have are usually offensive. Where like back here, like there were definitely like deep. There were spots like Bret Hart was like, okay, I'm gonna do this one move where I get fucked up so that I can sell it because I do this well.
Comeback.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see that as much anymore.
All, who wants to get in the best?
I blame the Young Bucks. Just flat out, fuck the Young Bucks. It's their fault.
The anti-Young Bucks right now. I don't even know why.
I mean, all I'm saying is, did you see that photo from like 10 years ago? It was Bryce Remsburg posted it, I think on like Instagram or whatever.
Yes.
And the one I commented, it was like that, that was missing Frightmare from it. I think the most impressive thing that I haven't seen in a long time in that photo was Nick Jackson's hairline.
You're full of anti-Young Bucks tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I'm feeling spicy.
Hit Virgil.
What crawled up your ass and died?
20
Matt Jackson.
Moves. Oh, what a surprise.
Oh!
Roll him up!
Oh, Brett with that pin.
Racist.
Severance.
You think they knew at this point that Brett was going to be like their big singles guy?
I don't think Brett was really actually ever planning on being their big single guy, and then fucking Anvil went and fucked it up and got fired. Personal.
Really?
Personal opinion.
Huh. There we go.
Got him.
No. Oh, no.
Oh,
got him.
Oh. Bret Hart really just had no luck at Survivor Series.
No, just to think about it, what was it, like, 7 years later, it'd be the Montreal Screwjob?
Yeah, he should have just really, like, refused to work.
Guys, I'm just going to take off the month of November every year.
I mean, I feel like there's people that do that.
I mean, I wouldn't believe me. But then how would he pay for Christmas?
Right?
Oh, if he's...
Well, I don't know. Like, they get free Christmas in Canada.
No, that's healthcare. No, that's healthcare.
It's like healthcare.
I thought it was Boxing Day.
They get to watch the boxing match like last night's fights?
Yes, which was a mockery of fucking boxing, if you ask me.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't.
In between every match was a rapper like I've never heard of, and all they were doing was mumbling. And it was terrible.
Oh, so like
Correct.
WrestleMania 19. Okay.
But the oh wow. Oh my God, look at the hair in it.
Sorry, we left the show on, and it's Jake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, and the Rockers, and we're looking at the hair.
For the record here, let's go around the room, okay? Working in AEW, killed a woman, dead, Shawn Michaels, other guy fucked his daughter. Like, these are the headlines right now.
Did Marty Jannetty kill somebody?
Allegedly.
That was after he fucked his daughter.
Was this the night Snuka killed the woman?
It might have been. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Look at it. Wow. I didn't know Tamina wrestled back then.
Oh
Wait,
my
why does Jake...
God.
Is he missing an eye?
Was
I
this
think
after he
by
was
arrogance.
blinded
By
by
arrogance.
by
Yes,
Rick
and
Martel?
arrogance.
I feel like Rick Martel has the saddest like end of career story because that was that shit where like he kept getting injured every
Yes.
time he came back. It was like 3 different times. Like his first match back, he got injured. So finally, he was
I'm
just like,
out.
"Fuck this shit."
Oh yeah, here he comes with arrogance. All right, let's move on to the next topic of discussion. Joe, you want to go, or just you want to give the floor to Craig?
He's our guest, so I feel like we should
All
let
right,
him
Craig,
go first.
give us your topic.
All right, my topic, if you could pick any valet / manager, who would it be and why? I'm kind of torn between 2, and I don't think either one of you would guess these 2.
Okay.
They're not women.
All right, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't guess at that point. I would have
Oh,
thought.
wow. The Warlord. I've met him so many times at a bar called All Stars down in Pompano.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is he still that jacked?
he was huge. This was way before Kennel Club. But a kid that I used to work with in a restaurant back in the day was going to school for wrestling, and he knew him because, he's big. He's big, like down in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to meet him a few times. Actually, a really cool guy. Fucking monster.
I'm trying to guess who you would pick as your 2 managers, and I feel like one of them would be. I mean, obviously the obvious choices of like Heyman and Bobby the Brain are probably not the 2 that you would go with. I feel like you're a more out of the box guy.
No.
And it's not a woman, so it's not Medeja.
Plus, after Scott Steiner had her, would
you don't want Scott
Probably
Steiner's
not.
sloppy
Probably
seconds?
Is it modern era, or is it like back in this time? Back like way in the waybacks?
It's not now.
It's not the 2000s.
No.
It's not now.
I'm gonna go with the Genius. Damn, I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a fucking blank. Is it Slick?
That's one of them.
Hell yeah, Jive Soul Bro.
Yeah.
Really?
Slick was great back in the day. He, because he was great on the mic. He could cut promos.
Okay.
He look. I mean, look at these. They were Hercules Hernandez and Paul Roma. Like, all right, yeah, no, these guys are not great on the mic. So
wait. I'm envisioning now your character. So like you're in like 1980s WWF. You're basically like the Warlord, right? Like you've got like that kind of gear on,
pretty much,
right?
and if it was the 80s, I'd be that juiced and that jacked. So
yes, exactly. And then you've got Slick there, like Job talking about how you gonna beat Hulk Hogan.
And the way he would get himself involved, I just really liked him back in the day. And my other one is another heel.
Oh boy.
Because there were really no good guys had managers.
Is it Fuji?
Yes.
Yes.
You're good. And Fuji was great because he was funny. He totally got the crowd involved. He was sneaky. With the sand or the salt. Either one of them, I would have loved. Now, don't get me wrong. Heenan was great One of the best. Heyman, yeah, because Heyman also cuts great promos. I mean, I would love to cut my own promos, but like having a guy like that, But then again, and even Fuji had some hysterical promos.
He really did.
So
Yeah,
I'm
no, for
torn
sure.
between those two.
Joe, do you have somebody in mind?
Yeah, I do actually. So in a surprising twist of events, I've decided to go with a woman. And I feel like, because, I had that same thought where it's like, like, I don't want a Paul Heyman. I want to do my own talking. I want someone who, if they're going to be there, you want them to be able to cut promos. Like, I'm not picking Elizabeth because she's useless. But like, you want someone who can definitely hold their own, obviously, but you don't need them to be your mouthpiece. You want them to be, you want to be a better act with them, not only half of an act where you're lost without them. And I think that the perfect manager for that, and it's the reason why she was able to kind of transition into being the manager for a bunch of different guys at different times, is Sensational Sherry.
I can dig it.
But I mean, she's not afraid to get involved. I mean, Hulk Hogan basically tried to like choke her every time he was like out of coke.
I feel like the title of this show should be Take 3 Wrestling Podcast presents Cocaine-a-thon 2020. A lot of coke talk.
That's what happens when you watch wrestling from the 80s.
See, I have two choices here, and the first one that it's a different era of Paul Heyman. I want Dangerous Alliance Paul Heyman.
Oh, you want like the big self, like the Zach Morris cell
I want
phone.
that. I want that Paulie Dangerously. I don't want Paul Heyman now. I want that Paulie specifically. And the second one was a manager in our watch along episode, The Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. I mean, he could be the face guy. He could be the heel guy. He could cut some promos if you needed him to. He could throw you a megaphone so you could blast somebody in the face with it.
And the thing I'll give Jimmy Hart that you don't necessarily give any other manager is he would definitely be wearing a jacket with your face on it, uniquely made for you.
He color
during your
coordinated
match.
with his whoever he was managing every time. Nasty Boys came out.
It was kind of impressive. It was impressive too because he'd be managing like 5 different guys in 5 different matches and like managed to have a different jacket for each one.
Kind of impressive.
So they're slick.
Yeah, I just think that having the two of them, I think, would be awesome. I went back and forth on a couple other ones. When you brought up the woman aspect, I was like, does that mean that we could add China to the mix because she was Triple H's valet for a while? Because she could probably kick some people's asses, help me get wins.
Yeah, but she was nothing on the mic. I was 0 on the mic.
No. She had the Miss Elizabeth on the microphone.
Randy!
Okay, wait. All right, I got one for you now, though. If you had to choose one of the AEW random legends who is like managing someone right now, who you taking as your manager?
We might have to give Craig a quick rundown of who's.
Yeah, I don't know who's. I know Arn Anderson is there.
Yep.
Yep.
Matt Hardy is. Matt Hardy is with Private Party. Tully's with FTR.
Vicky Guerrero's there.
My pick is the guy I'm going to mention next. The leader of Team Taz. Taz.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, give me Taz all the time.
I mean, he's the only one that's actually of any substance that the way they're using them. Me too.
I like what they're doing with Arn. With the Andy Reid playbook, that looks like the Waffle House menu, smothered and covered, Pronghorn, Leghorn, all those fun things.
I would like what they were doing with Tully if they had some sort of consistency with it. Like, why Sean Spears and FTR aren't just a full unstable is beyond me.
Why aren't they the Four Horsemen?
Right. You've got the pieces.
Yeah, they definitely have the pieces, because that would just make so much sense to put them all together, make them the basically the new Horsemen.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's definitely Taz for me from the AEW perspective. I just think it's such an easy selection there.
Yeah, I was like, that's not even. Now that I think about it, it's not even close.
Other than that, though, I mean, the manager game, like, after you get past like the first level, like after you get past like Slick and you know Hart and all of them, it really just fizzles out to like that next tier. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, like you could be like, oh, Miss Elizabeth, you know, honestly, like if you had like that country gimmick, like you could put yourself with Hillbilly Jim. But if you ain't got that kind of gimmick going, you're really kind of worthless.
Yeah. That was one of the things I respected about Sherry, though, is like, that's like, she had that kind of range. I mean, you know, she was, you know, Queen Sherry when she was with Macho Man. And then she was just like, kind of crazy Sherry when she was with Shawn Michaels. And, you know, I think she had a short run. I think she had a short run with Ted DiBiase for a second. And then she was in WCW, and all of a sudden it was like, she moved to Harlem, and like, she got to be like part of Harlem Heat, you know? Yeah, Sister Sherry. There we go. Basically, whatever you needed her to be, you just put it in front of Sherry, and that's what she became.
Yeah. I definitely thought Sherry was a very underrated manager. Yeah, because she was one of those legend. That you didn't have to worry about her. She handled herself in ring. She handled herself on the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely thought Sherry was one that, you know, I don't think she gets the credit that she rightfully deserves in some phases there.
I agree.
So, I think she just gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. So, all right. So that is the managerial topic of tonight's discussion. Joe, let's go to yours.
Sure. All right. Well, a few weeks ago, I read an article somewhere on the interwebs. I don't remember where. I'm sorry that I can't give them credit. But it was in relation to the house show schedule for WWE. Now, obviously, we're living through a very odd time with COVID. Everything's shut down, yada, yada, yada. So the WWE schedule has been very different. They obviously haven't had any fans in attendance at their shows at all. And everything's been coming from their Thunderdome, you know, one central location and all that. And obviously, one thing in the business that has been gone is the house shows. Those were those non-televised events that would kind of come to a town near you, and you get to see all the big stars have matches that, let's be honest, kind of didn't really matter. Like, occasionally you'd get like a title change or something at a house show, really occasionally in the last few decades. But, you know, occasionally something like that would happen, especially in like a bigger market like New York City or something like that. When AEW started, they never had house shows. And it seemed like kind of a strange decision to a lot of people, given that that's the way that business has always been. That, you know, back in the day, even WCW had house shows. ECW had house shows. That was a very common thing. AEW seemed to, from the start, be going in the direction of not doing this. And now WWE seems to be following suit. And the thing is, for those of us who grew up as wrestling fans from decades ago, house shows were a big deal for some of us. You know, house shows sometimes were our first chance to actually get to go to live wrestling events. They were our chance to get to see the stars. Sometimes, you know, you got the better seats going to a house show than you would to a pay-per-view because the tickets were a lot cheaper. You know, so I thought maybe if this is actually the end of house shows, first of all, I would love to know how you guys feel about that. And then also, too, maybe, some memories, because I'm sure you guys have been to house shows before. I know I have. I know I have some very happy memories from them and very angry memories also, because I was a kid and I took it way too seriously. So, I feel like, again, if it's a part of the business that is actually being phased out, it deserves some kind of a going off ceremony. So
I don't know if necessarily it's going to be the full blown end of house shows, but I can see something where WWE goes back and they're not running 6 days a week anymore. I could see them doing, like, all right, well, SmackDown is out, maybe they do like a Friday, Saturday, and then they do like a Sunday, Monday for the Raw group, and give them off,
right.
4 days. They work 2 or 5 days. They work 2 days, off for 4, to try to keep everybody fresh. But I think the house shows is where they see if things are going to work. And I think you need that still to see how guys interact in a couple of matches before they go out in front of a live audience and there's no turning back from, oh, well, Roman and this person don't work together. Well, we found out about it like a week before the fucking pay-per-view was supposed to work each other in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Oh, this is going to suck. So like I said, I don't think it's the death of house shows, but if you do like a thing where the SmackDown crew does one night or something, or one or two, like they do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Raw does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're on for 3, off for 4 kind of thing, and if you have a pay-per-view on Sunday, obviously you're not going to have a house show on Sunday.
Right.
So it's one of those where it's just, I don't think it's the death of it, but I think it's definitely getting scaled back, which necessarily isn't a bad thing, because there have been talks about house show attendance dwindling and stuff like that.
Years.
So it's one of those things where I get it. It's definitely cheaper to go to a house show, but you're getting a lot less glitz and glam. And you can tell that sometimes there are times where the roster phones it in. You're like, oh, it's the 4th out of 4 days. I've been working with, Brock Lesnar getting fucking F5'd for fucking 3 straight days, and now I'm working against, like, Kalisto. I'm phoning this one in, guys.
Right.
No offense to Kalisto, but it's one of those things where, you've been in a fucking street fight with Brock Lesnar the last 3 days. You're a little dinged up. You're a little beat up. Probably going to take this one easy.
Well, one thing that I think is interesting, is because I think you're right. I think that there does need to be some sort of platform for where these guys get to kind of hone their skills and get a little bit of extra practice, where it's not just, the main TV shows and stuff like that.
If not, WWE's going to release a lot of people because they're not going to have enough TV time for all of them.
Yeah.
Which, I think is one of the reasons why they've started releasing people like a few months ago. And, I know a lot of people seem to be angry about that because they're doing so well, profits-wise and stuff. But it's exactly like you said. Like, look, if right now, especially, they are in a realm where there are no house shows and stuff. So they do have a lot of talents that aren't necessary. But one thing that I think that's been interesting to me on the AEW front, like I was saying, they've never had house shows. I don't think that was ever part of their plan. But AEW Dark, which is their YouTube show, and it had started out as being kind of akin to like Sunday Night Heat or Velocity or, something in that realm. If you look at it nowadays, and the latest episode from this past week was 2 hours and 45 minutes long, and it's, a lot of new talent, guys who clearly and girls who clearly still have work to do. Some of them are really good. So, some of the talent that doesn't get on Dynamite as much was on it. It was basically a house show, but on YouTube. And honestly, I think that there's a noble idea in there that AEW is exploring. I don't know if WWE could ever go that route. I mean, they certainly have the network. They certainly could do something on YouTube also. But obviously, you're not going to have you're not going to have your main event guys fighting each other on there like you could on a house show as a means of getting practice to see how it might go for a pay-per-view. I mean, that's obviously always been a thing. Like, infamously, the whole reason why Hogan and Ric Flair didn't fight at WrestleMania 8 is supposedly because they fought at a bunch of house shows and Vince didn't like the results.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, they kind of attempted it. They had Main Event and Superstars and all that. You know, they tried it and it didn't work, or whatever the issue was on the network. I mean, personally, if you want to reinvent Main Event and put it on YouTube and on the network, like, I wouldn't be opposed.
I mean,
but I mean, you have to use that for all the extra talent. Like, you can't be like, oh, welcome to WWE Main Event. Here's, Braun Strowman in a match. Here's Keith Lee in a match. Like, that's got to be your, like, help, like, the lower card women's division. Have, like, Lana take on Tamina on a random show. Right. Have your, basically your tag team, like, build your tag team division. Have, like, the Lucha House Party take on a tag team. And even if it's like NXT guys that haven't been, like, put on the NXT show yet, like, have them.
Right. So, Mike, I know you've been to house shows. Give me your favorite house show memory.
All right, so I was, how old was I? I'm trying to remember. Oh, let's see. I was probably like 10. My dad got front row seats to a show in DC through his job. And we're sitting there, and the show's progressing, and everybody's having a good time. And, I look over, and the New Age Outlaws were taking on the Legion of Doom. And I think it was Road Dogg. Yeah, Road Dogg got thrown out right in front of us. And he looked up, and little young, Mike Byrne decided to get up, bum. And he goes, why do I got to get up? And I go, because your teammate's getting his ass kicked. And he goes, oh, it's okay. We're going to win the match right here. And I go, no, you're not. And as I say that, China gets in the ring and hits one of the members of Legion of Doom right in the dick. And he hears the bell ring. He looks up to me and he goes, I told you we were going to win. And rolls in the ring, and they do the post-match beatdown. Like, he comes over, like, he walks by, like, the little area I was at, gave me a high five on the way back to the ring, to the backstage area. Something, like, heels never did. But it was just kind of cool that he, like, interacted with me. And, like, so that was awesome. That was fun. And then there was there was one other one that we went to. We sat on the floor. We were in, like, the third row or whatever. And there was a spot where, it was a no-holds-barred match. But this was, like, in the 2000s, so they were coming out into the crowd a little bit more than they were. And, so who was it? I want to say it was Kane. Kane used my chair to hit X-Pac. And then, like, so he hit him with it, and then, like, he stopped for a second, and then rather than just putting the chair down, like, Kane turned around and was like, here. And handed me the chair still folded. He was like, here, take this chair back. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll sit in this now.
And that is why that man is now the mayor of Knoxville,
Tennessee.
Right? All right, Craig, let's hear you. What are your feelings on this? And what are your, like, house show memories?
House shows, well, obviously, like you said, with the bullshit virus, nobody's at anything right now.
Right.
Yes, that hurts. One thing you got to think about is if they're only going to be wrestling one night a week with no house shows, salaries are going to be cut, or when they go for new contracts, hey, you're only working one day a week. So what happens with that? As far as now, even if they do come back, what's the attendance going to be like? Because they haven't even gone back. They don't even have Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views with people. So if anything, house shows are going to be a while away because they're not going to be able to come back to full capacity. They're not going to have 18,000 people on a Monday Night Raw. They're going to go with limited crowds. So if you're going to be limited on your main two shows and your pay-per-views, you're going to lose money on a house show. or you got to
Yeah.
charge a shit ton of money. And if you're making a shit ton of money, people aren't going to go. And like you were saying, the numbers for house shows were down. Well, dude, you got fucking 5 hours of WWE on TV a week.
More.
No, more with NXT on
7.
Wednesday.
Much more than that,
You know,
yeah.
with NXT on Wednesday, AEW on Wednesday. So like, and the other thing is like you guys were saying, like, you know, they need to practice. I mean, basically your house shows are your dress rehearsal for your Monday Night Raw and your SmackDown.
And even your pay-per-view matches.
You know, so if the, you know, will the quality start to go down? You know,
Right.
if they're only wrestling one night a week, will they get rusty?
One thing, though, that's interesting to me, and I think one of the reasons why AEW hasn't really ever gone the house show route, I don't think they were ever that interested in it. Certainly the health and the longevity of the wrestlers also has to be better, though, in a world where they're not wrestling like 4 or 5 times a week. So, I mean, that aspect of it is kind of interesting to me.
I definitely think that it'll help the long-term health of wrestlers, especially in like major like knee ligaments and stuff like that. Like you may see less like of the ACL tears of the world, you know, which has taken a lot of people out of like prime parts of their career. I mean, we lost Seth Rollins to a meaningless torn ACL in a table spot against Kane.
Right.
So I think it's gonna hurt. I think it hurts, but I don't think it's the end of the road. You know, I've been to a couple. Yeah, exactly. I've been to a couple NXT house shows up when they were up in Fort Pierce, and you know that's big for those guys in NXT because it's like you get your this person's on every week. You know, you get your Johnny Garganos, your Damian Priest, your Finn Balor's. You know, but on the NXT house show loop, like there would be 2 loops running. There'd be like the A loop and the B loop, and you'd have like, here's the A loop has Gargano, Balor, Ciampa, and Priest. The other one has the Undisputed Era and Oni and Danny. So it's like, okay, so you know the main event's going to be some mixture of them, but the whole bottom half of the card is wide open to have 5 to 6 like either guys that are like fighting for TV time or just getting TV time, and guys that haven't gotten TV time yet to like build so that they can see what they're getting from those guys to make the decision of who's going to be the guy to replace Adam Cole when he goes up to the main roster. Right. So I think house shows are a necessary evil, I guess, for at least for WWE's sakes. AEW, they're still in a good spot right now where they don't have to rush things. But there may come a time when their roster becomes so deep that they need to have, stuff like that for guys to get more work.
I mean, I actually think they might already actually be there because their roster is kind of ridiculously large for the company size that they are.
2 hours of TV time and maybe 2 hours of YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, like I was saying, at this point, AEW Dark is basically a weekly house show, but on YouTube. Because when the show is 2 hours and 45 minutes long, like, I'm sorry, but it's not the equivalent of Velocity anymore.
No, it's its own show.
Yeah.
I feel like they should make it its own show, its own concept. Like these should be guys that are trying to get on the AEW roster, and they should be having matches and like the people with the best record over like a 2-month span fight, and the winner gets a contract, kind of like the Dana White Contender Series.
That would be awesome, actually.
Nah, I mean, I just think it'd be a cool concept. It'd be something different for fucking wrestling to do.
Yeah. So, Craig, do you have any house show memories?
Yes.
Have you ever been to one? Or
like when I was a kid growing up, we went to a few of the WWF Madison Square Garden like Saturday night shows that would be on like MSG Network back in the day. But the one that I really remember, because we sat really close, we sat like the second row, was Savage versus Andre. And I just remember looking up and just seeing how fucking tremendous Andre the Giant was. It was in '88, so I was like 14, and it was just awesome just to like see how big he was in person. But the coolest thing about the whole thing was there was a guy sitting next to us, and we were looking at the promo, and we were trying to figure out what was going to be blah blah blah, what match would start, whatever. Like me and my little brother were going over it because we watched wrestling religiously. And the guy goes, "Well, here, I'm going to show you." And the guy said, I guess he was somebody who worked there or worked with the WWF, and he told us, and he wrote on the paper exactly 1, 2, like there were like 8 or 9 matches, and that's exactly how they came out. So I thought that was really cool that the guy told us what matches were coming.
Yeah.
And, you know.
That's awesome, yeah.
All right, so before we wrap up here,
wait. I didn't get to share my
wow.
memories.
And I'm not the high one. All right, go ahead.
Way to cut him off.
Like, literally the only one of us that's not, probably.
Yeah, probably. I should be, though.
So, for me, again, it's going back to being a kid also, and I was lucky enough also to get to go to all my house shows at Madison Square Garden. I might have even told this story before, but there was one house show I went to, and the main event was a Battle Royal, and the last 2 guys that it came down to were Hulk Hogan and Sid Vicious, or Sid Justice at that point, whatever. And I was the biggest Hulk Hogan fan because, of course, I was. We all were. And all I remember is Hogan throws Sid out of the ring, but the referees don't see it. And Sid goes back in the ring and throws Hogan out, and then the referees see it, and Sid wins. And I'm telling you, for the next 3 days, I was outraged. Like my aunts did not hear the end of it. Like, for as long as I can continue going on, being like, that's not right. Because that man was stolen of a victory, and that's not okay. To this day, I still say fuck Sid Vicious, just for the record.
You just hate Sid Vicious.
But, like, honestly, the one thing that I'd say, though, and I'm hoping maybe this is something WWE considers for this year, one thing that I was lucky to go to a couple of different times, and obviously won't go to it this year, because it won't be a thing this year. Every year, WWE, for I think going as long back as anyone could possibly remember, has been doing a house show at Madison Square Garden on the day after Christmas. That's been a long-standing thing. I've gone to it a couple of different times. I've gone with a couple of different friends. The last time I went was actually with my friend Parker, who's no longer here with us. I'll never forget that. That was a fun show to be at. He kept wishing for a Blissmas miracle that night. So I would love to see them do that house show, quote unquote, as a WWE Network special. It's always kind of a fun night. There's usually like a steel cage match. You know, there's usually some sort of like Santa Claus thing that I think it'd be fun to still see like the tradition stay alive on the network, even if you can't do it at Madison Square Garden this year. I doubt that's going to happen, but like I would love to see that.
Give me Starrcade.
Oh, I mean, I'm assuming NXT is going to do Starrcade.
I hope so. Speaking of NXT, big show coming up this weekend for them, as well as a big show on Wednesday night for AEW. Before we go, want to do a quick, just a match preview?
I'm sure.
Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega. It's being titled Winter is Coming, kind of like a knockoff of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
The 5 matches announced for the Dynamite show. Of course, we'll get to it, the Moxley Omega match, but it has Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Layla Hirsch. Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian. Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes versus Team Taz of Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. A battle royal for the AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring. MJF is in it, as is Wardlow, Miro, a.k.a. Rusev, Kip Sabian, Orange Cassidy, Sean Spears, Scorpio Sky, Matt Sydal, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Kennedy, Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and Adam Page. Is it me or is Adam Page going to win this?
I mean, I hope so.
And then obviously the main event of the evening for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. Is it time for the return of the Best Bout Machine?
Yes. I think it's time to pull the trigger and make him the number one guy.
I just think it makes too much sense not to do it at this point. Like, I mean, you have to do it right now. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do anything differently.
No. I 100% agree with that.
Hold on 1 second so I can bring up that one. Yeah, obviously I hope Adam Page wins the Battle Royal. I don't give a shit about Frankie Kazarian versus Chris Jericho. I really don't care about the women's match. The tag match could be fun, especially after Taz choked out Cody on last week's episode of Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just... Darby and Cody teaming together again.
Yeah.
For it. And then Saturday night, December 6th, it is War Games. 4 matches have been announced so far. Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes in a strap match. And then for the NXT North American title, you have Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano versus Damian Priest for the North American title. And then it's bookended by 2 War Games matches. First, the women's is Team Shotzi Blackheart. It's Shotzi and Ember Moon with 2 other members to be determined versus Team Candice LeRae, which is Candice, Dakota, Raquel Gonzalez, and Craig's favorite wrestler right now, Tony Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Craig.
I honestly think that one has the potential to be as good, if not better, as last year's Women's War Games match.
Yes. I agree. I think it's going to be a good one. I think that one's going to be a real fun match.
Yeah.
I think the current rumor is that the other 2 members of Team Shotzi are going to be... I don't know. Hold on 1 sec. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I mean, who else is a face on the NXT women's roster right now?
I honestly don't know. It's not exactly extensive.
No, it's definitely not that deep. Especially because...
I mean, is Io defending the belt? Because if not, I guess she's available.
I'm going to guess not, because they laid her out. So I think it's going to be Io and Ripley.
That would make
Especially
sense.
after the way it went last week.
Right.
So, yeah, if it's the 8 of them, then that match definitely has some potential to be huge.
Yeah.
And then the men's one, for like the 17th year in a row, the Undisputed Era is in the War Games match. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish take on the self-proclaimed kings of NXT, Pat McAfee, for the brand. We love Pat here on this show, especially yours truly. Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan. There's no way that Pat McAfee doesn't come into this match last, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know that they have the advantage, so obviously you're probably going to have, it'd probably be Pete, then Danny, then Oney, then Pat.
Oh, my God.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of the upcoming War Games pay-per-view.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that next week.
Ernest, when you listen to the show, just so you know, you better watch it, because we're going to talk about it.
Dude, leave him alone. He's doing his kid's homework right now.
He won't listen to this until tomorrow. Hopefully the homework will be done by then.
Oh, my God.
So, all right. So that is the show for this week. Before we go, though, wrap it up with Take 3 tradition. Our MVPs of the week. I'm springing this one on Craig. So, Craig, give me most valuable player of the week.
Russell Wilson's going to throw 4 touchdowns to DK Metcalf tomorrow night. And Carson's going to run in 3. Seahawks win a lot, too, a very little bit.
This is the first time we ever had an entire football team win MVP.
Go Hawks.
Joseph?
In lieu of having really watched any wrestling this week, I'm just gonna pick Roman Reigns.
My MVP is going to be a sad one here on the show. My MVP this week, I mentioned it to you this morning. My MVP is Jimmy Rave. For those of you that have watched Ring of Honor, you know Rave from his time as a member of the Embassy because you know that the Embassy is forever. Sadly, Jimmy reported on his Twitter that his professional wrestling career is over. He went to the doctors, found out that he had an infection, and is now going to have part of his left arm amputated because of the infection. So it is unfortunate, and I think Jimmy's a guy who could have been a big star. He would have been in the NXT front with, guys like Roddy and Adam and them right now if he had actually have gotten the mainstream push in Ring of Honor that he never got. And it's just unfortunate because I think that Jimmy would have been big right now. So it just sucks for Jimmy that it's over like this and it's not, his own choice. So, thoughts and prayers to Jimmy as he gets ready for that unfortunate surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better.
Yeah. So, but that is our show for this week. That is the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast. We will be back next week. Yeah, David Mills your referee on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, we'll be back in some capacity. If Earnest has homework, who knows if he'll be here.
Yeah, if not, it'll probably be me, Joe, and third guest. Probably maybe Craig again, or maybe my wife will actually be able to get the kids to sleep so she can jump in because she wanted to be on the show tonight. But unfortunately, it's been a crazy week for yours truly as we were in Disney. So a lot of fun. But that is our show for Craig and Joe. I am Mike. As always, thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at Take3 Wrestling. You can follow me there at They Call Me Burn. Neither one of them have it. Also, if you like Year in Review podcast, listen to the Names of the Change podcast. Me and Joe Lopez going over the year that was 2003. Episode up right now is No Way Out with WrestleMania coming later this week. Anything else?
Nope, you said it all.
All right, then for Joe, Craig, I'm Mike. We will see you guys next week on the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast.